Hello, online scholars. Welcome to week 4. I'd like to just share with you a video message to review with you the week 3 modernist poetry readings as well as authors, and also to introduce you to week 4 and to talk to you a little bit about the classroom guidelines and course requirements moving forward. So before I go any further, I'd like you just to take a look at this brief video that introduces us to modernist poetry. All right, so I'm going to stop the video here. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about last week's readings and this week's readings. Hopefully you started to see many similarities between the modernists. It's really crucial that you read the background information about Lowell HD, all right? It's really important that you get a good sense of the author's background, where he or she lived, what they did before they started writing, and also what they experienced. Because usually, when you understand what they're experiencing in society during this time period, you understand how they used writing as an outlet and as a way to heal, or how they used writing as their therapy. Okay, so I'd like to talk to you about this movement that we're going to be studying, this movement in poetry that was known as Imagism. Now, this originated in 1912, and it was represented by many poets. We're just reading a few. You read Amy Lowell. You're going to read from William Carlos Williams this week. So many poets are considered to be imagists, although they would not consider themselves imagists. Basically, they really aimed at, the clarity of expression through the use of precise visual images. And that's what I want you to focus on as you read the poetry this week. So you're reading from William Carlos Williams, you're reading from Carl Sandburg, who really describes, the city that he lived in, which was Chicago. And then you're going to read from Robert Frost, some of his poetry. A lot of his poetry focuses on nature. But what you'll notice is that these poets wrote succinct verse. It was verse of dry, like very dry clarity. And usually very succinct. Lines are short, images are vivid. They use specific nouns. They use sensory details. You'll notice that they use the language of common speech. So I'm going to just go over some of the characteristics of this poetry, and you might just want to jot it down. I'll also include these notes within this week's folder. So first and foremost, they use language of common speech, all right? Because they want to employ the exact wording. They also really had absolute freedom in the choice of subject. So they maybe described a wheelbarrow. Maybe they described a tree. I mean, they had a lot of freedom. And to present an image, all right, you want to think of them as maybe painters. They really wanted to produce a poetry that was clear, never blurred, never confusing, never gray. They wanted to provide poetry that was clear, colorful, succinct. So I want you to think about this precision of imagery and this clear, sharp language, and think about why they wrote this way. Also look at the commonalities between these poets and see if you can draw any commonalities between this week's readings and last week's readings. And be sure to address those commonalities within your discussion board assignment. All right, this is just part one of the video. Part two is going to talk a little bit about how to write that, thorough discussion board post so that you can receive full credit each and every week.